simple introduction from the recordings. Do you mind doing that one more so that we can have that recorded?
Yeah, you can record it.
Yeah, this section is recording now.
Yes, it is recording. Thank you.
Right, thank you. Hi guys, my name is Babatunde Dalex, and I'm happy to join this section today and share my knowledge with you all. I'm also a student of University of Memphis and a member of AAIS. I'll be graduating this December, and I have been certified in Microsoft Fabric Analytics and also Microsoft Lens Student Ambassador, and also a super user using Microsoft Fabric and Power BI. So in today's workshop, I will be introducing you to Power BI. And I'm aware most of you might have prior knowledge of using Power BI, and we have new beginners as well who doesn't know anything about Power BI, and I'm happy to share my knowledge with you today. And this is our today's agenda. Let's get started and have all these things situated. First and foremost, we will be analyzing great data sets, and let's see. Let me open my other screen right here. I'm using multiple screens, and you will see me going from one screen to another screen so I can capture the right information to share with you all today. So let me copy this link right here and using this web browser, come up. So this is a public data set from the United States Environmental Protection Agency, and this data set was released in 2022. So it gets updated every year, but the data set we'll be working on today will be this particular data set for 2022. So let me download this data set. Let's go to download files. Okay, I have not. This is it right here. And a quick information I would like to share with you is I have already worked on this data set earlier this year on a challenge, and this is my findings, and this is what I do on GitHub. I document everything here, and I'll basically be explaining what I did, how I worked around this process, and we will be doing it live. And it will be quite different from what I did here. But just to let you know, I have prior knowledge about this data set, and it will help us today in walking through my demonstration. With that being said, let me pull out, bring up a data file. I want to open Power BI. Come up, Power BI. Yeah. Awesome now. Up here. Desktop. Yep. I will be using this report today. And one thing I would like to talk about Power BI, it's a beautiful analytics tools. And what it does, it helps us writing, performing analytics with less code. Remember the days where people, data analytics, before these tools came into life, we've all been using, the data analytics have been using Excel and other tools to perform analytics. And one of the biggest engine behind those analytics tools then is SQL. And since the introduction of Power BI, which is one of low code or no SQL analytics, because if you don't know much about SQL, then you can still manage to walk around with Power BI, because with the interface, and it has its own two. It has basic two engines, which is M-Code and DAX engine. And with that engine, we're going to get into that in a little bit, but let's go back to basically, I'm just setting up the Power BI. I'm opening up Power BI for the first time now. Not just the first time, but this is a Power BI interface. And if you need access to Power BI, all you just need to do is free. Go to the web and just type Power BI desktop download. We want to go to the Microsoft page right here, the first one, and you can download it right here, and it's free. You can use it. It's not totally free. It's free. Like this, you can do analytics, perform everything I'm going to show with you today. And if you want to go in depth, there's a little bit charges with it in case you want to share your report with other people. And all this information, you can Google about it or do some YouTube video, and you can see more tutorials about how to get started with Power BI. So I've downloaded the data set we'll be working with today, and let me get this data set right here using these tools right here. And I'm sure it is in an Excel file. But before I import the data in here, let's see what the data look like. Downloads. So this is the data right here. And I urge you, in case you want to work with this data set and have more knowledge about it, you can go to the epic.org website and read more about this data set so you can be more familiar with it. So this is the data set, and we'll be only using few tables in this table, in this sheet. So we have multiple sheets right here, and in Excel, all these sheets will be converted into tables when we bring them into Power BI or into Power Query, which is a big engine. And that engine, with that being said, I would also love to say something right here real quick. Since we are here, you look at this place, get data. I'm pretty sure we are all familiar with Excel. And if you have been using Excel, if you are fans of Excel, then trust me, you will love Power BI. You see this get data interface right here, everything you can do. Look at this ribbon. Power BI also have everything right here, the same ribbon. And one of the reasons why I love Microsoft Power BI tools is because I have familiarized myself with this ribbon, and it's more easy for me to walk around with any other technology tools because the ribbons are always easy, something like that. So let me transform this. Let me go ahead and get data. Cancel. I want to do get data. I know the data type, the type of data I'm looking for, and I can connect web API, but that is out of today's concept. So let me just go straight to it, get data, and this is data I want to work with today. Now that this data is in here, I have few tables I will like to import. I want these. I want the gen tables on the gen sheet, and also details about the plants. So let me review this. Correct. Plants, just to plant details, correct. And correct. So one more thing I would like to verify before I proceed. This is what I'm looking at right here. Just to know the type of table I want to work with today. I've already marked them out, so it will be easy for me and make this presentation floating. UNT22, Gen 22, Plant 22, and this, but we might not really use this. So once you've identified the tables you want to bring into Power BI, one thing you want to do the most is transform first. You don't want to do load, but you want to transform so that you also want to walk around with that data set yourself. You want to get yourself familiarized to it. And let's do that. Transform data. And what that does, it opens up the Power Query engine, which is one of the biggest, one of the analytics engine out there. Is very strong. It helps us in transforming our data sets. You can transform the data set, do a whole lot of, you can do a whole lot with Power Query. And once you know Power Query, trust me, then everything will be more beautiful out there. It's very good. And this Power Query is the same thing in Excel. Excel have it, come here, get data. You can get the data from anywhere the data is. And if I click it, I'm still going to get the same type of interface. Let me load this table again. And just to show you where Power Query is, we've all been using it. You've been using Excel, and Excel also have that Power Query functionality. You can see this. So I won't be doing too much. I'm just bringing just one table. And I'll say transform data. And again, boom, inside Excel, we are back to Power Query editor, which is very good. You want to play around with it. It's very beautiful. Once you can have all this knowledge, you will be happy going forward with it. Let me close that off. But basically, what I'm showing right here is Power Query engine inside Excel. Thank you on that. And another thing I would like to have is, if you have any question, please don't hesitate to put them in the chat box, in the chat room, so that we can review those questions and talk about it. I don't want to be the only one presenting. I want more interaction, engagement with you. Please, if you have any question, you can post me and ask those questions, or you can drop them in the chat box. All right, so let's transform. These are the three data I just bring in, and I'm going to talk about this data set later on, but let's talk about these 4 data that I just loaded inside this Power Query, inside this Power BI in Power Query editor. Now let's inspect this data one by one. Looking at the data, we can see it has different type of rows. We can see which this role, after reading through this metadata, I understand what these tables is. This is the column name, this is the column header. But again, these are the abbreviations, or these are the more details of metadata of what those column header entails, right? This primary VR means primary mover. So how do we want to transform this? Now, it depends on to us. Do we want to use this one as the header? Because we can't have 2 header in a table, right? It have to be just 1 header. But so how do we want to, I need to decide right now, which header do I want to keep? And depending on what your analysis process are, I'm going to walk you through both. So let's say I want to keep this one as my main header and remove this one, right? So all I need to do is come here and say, and you can see before that, I have not done anything, but the moment the data get loaded, all these 4 data get loaded, I'm looking at one. The first thing that happened in here is the transformation step, apply step. And all this was done manually by the Power Query engine. The engine was able to read the data. Let me see the data gets in. This is when the first step, when the data gets in, and the system was able to navigate that, okay, this is a table this is a metadata, and there's a table embedded into it. So the system do the navigation step, and on the navigation tab, you can see column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4, column 5. Thank you for that. Okay. So you can see, yeah, in echo. All right. Thank you for that. Okay, you can see this column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4. The body engine was able to understand these are not the table headers, but there's a table header embedded. So what it did, it promotes the header himself, and it gave us another header. So when the analytics engine do that for us, it was unable to decide what do we want to do with the next table. Is this an header, or is this, it just calculate this as a row? So this is where you getting familiarized with those data sets you want to work on in analytics is very, very important. You just want to know about the data, and the data himself, the visuals you see from the data will tell you, will give you an idea of what the data entails. So now, I don't like this. At least it did good, but I just don't want it to do that for me, because that is not what I want to do. I would like to do that myself. So this column 1, I would like to remove it myself and do promote role as header. Boom, that is gone. I want this as my header table, right? I will do promote role again as header. Boom, that is done. But what if, let me cancel. You can see the system is still automatically doing some detecting those data, the steps, the data types, and is automatically changing the data functions. I don't like that, and I'm going to show you how to stop that in a little bit. And basically, let's do that first. And to do that, I have to do that in here. Come here, go to options, like this. Yeah, that's load data. You see, it's already in auto detect table or detect column types. I don't want that. I would say never. And let's go to load data right here. It's already as detect data type. I don't want it to detect the data type. I want to check that. Likewise here, it wants to auto detect relationship. I will tell you what this is before I remove it. So let's get there before I remove it. All right, stop. Okay. And go back here. Now, next step is back to this. Remember, my objective is to make this as the header, because it's self-explanatory. And I want to remove this second row. It is in abbreviation. That is how it's been stored in the table. But I don't want those abbreviation. I want a clear details of those names, what it is right here, plant name other than PN name. So how can I do that? Remember, if I hit on use role as header again, it won't do what I intend to do. And what I need to do at that point is come here and I'll say remove row. So this remove row functionality is going to help me in eradicating any row. If I want to remove row 26, I will just type into here, remove row 26. But all I want to remove the first row and keep the first header. So I will just type in 1. Boom. That fixed that problem. So we have this table name right here. And I will do the same thing here. Close this. We'll do, it's already done the promote headers type. Since I'm going to need it, I will leave it. So the next thing is do remove row, top row, 1. Boom, that's fixed again. Next one, remove row again. I don't want this step.
Okay. Yes.
Malika, can you please help me unmute everyone? And if anyone have things to say, have a question, you can please use this function to raise your hands up, and we can have those questions been answered. So I will do the next thing here again. Boom. I need row, remove row. Row 1. Boom. I have that too. For this table too, I'm going to do that. And I don't want it to change the data type. Remove the row header. Does it. And that is just one of those things we can do in Power Query Editor. Another thing is we can split columns. Or let's say, look at this column right here. Look at this table right here. There is a whole lot of rows. We might not need it. But then you need to know the type of data sets you need before loading it into the system. Basically, what I can do, since this is a table with just one row, and this one all have some places whereby there are no value, I can, at this point, remove those rows with no value. Only columns with no value. Because if there is no value, you won't be imagining types of, if there is no value, if I can remove these two, let's say these two tables, these 3 rows, these 3 columns, it will significantly help in performance. So, and what that means is tables that are not needed, or columns that are not, columns that are not needed, we can remove them before loading it into the system, back into Power BI engine. Likewise, here we have so many rows right here, and we have so many rows right here. I can load them. I'm going to load them in, and we're going to see what happened afterwards. So but before I do that, I want to get familiarized to one table, or open notebook. There's this table I want to get familiarized with. Let me go back here and say promote header. And this table right here, what is it called? Right here, copy value, and pull this out here. Because I'll be using this in joining those tables together as my facilities code, because that is the facility code, the plant, if I want to join, this is about, this data is all about gas, being the emotions of gases that are being released into the air, and it's being affected by plants. The plants that have generators and the types of generators they use, and these are data set about those generators and the types of toxic oxygens that they release into the air. Okay, and with that being said, I've familiarized with the column name, which is the facility code. That is what I needed to know. And I will then do what? Load. And before I load, one thing I will like to talk about is save first before loading. You can don't apply now, do apply later. Yeah, exactly. And what that does is, come to think of it, if this data take me 2 hours to, or let's say 30 minutes to load, or 30 minutes to perform any changes in there, I want to keep those changes, right? I have to save it and apply later, because anything can happen. It can get corrupted, anything can happen. My system, system can get shut down, and I won't want to go back and do all those processes again. So it's very essential when you are doing analytics, always save when you make a major change, especially when the system is not auto capturing those changes for you. Like this Power Query Editor, it is not that at this moment, but it's doing the same thing inside Fabric, and we are going to get there in a bit. So I've saved, and what I'm going to do is apply. And before I apply, I would like to ask, do we have anyone who have questions to ask regarding Power Query, or what function, what other thing you would like me to do in here inside Power Query before we proceed? Any volunteer? Seems everybody know it and we good. That's a good sign to me. So let's proceed. But don't hesitate. If you have any question, please come online and or drop your questions and let's talk about it. All right. So remember, we can do a whole lot of things in here. Is a whole one. I can go deep in about 1 hour topics just within Power Query Editor, and you don't even need everything. But the more you use this Power BI as a tool, then the more you get familiarized with all these functionalities and a lot of things inside it. So let's proceed. Close and apply. I will minimize this now. Why this load? What else can we do? All right. Boom, we have those data set now. Let's go to the mode view. Now, in this mode view, you can see the system, I have this data in the system before, right? And these are the 4 data I just loaded in. And you can see the engine have somehow detect a relationship for me. Thank you, but I don't like that. I want to be able to detect my own relationship and be able to draw those relationships myself. Moreover, the big thing about analytics, about data analytics, is the model. A report can be beautiful, but if the modules is not being structured right, then users might make wrong decision about that type of data. So one thing I do, I've worked with different developers, and if I have to debug their job or look into some things in the report, one of the things I do first is come to the model view right here. And if the model view is not I can tell, then I know we have something to work about, right? So now what the system auto generate all these and why is because this thing right here, I'm going back here, options and settings, is because allow data to be not do that. Let's do data load. Is because after the data get loaded into the system, this check mark is still in here. Auto detect relationship after data is being loaded. I don't want that. So I'm going to uncheck that and save it. And with that being said, I'm going to delete all this. Without being deleted. Again, before we can start connecting relationship of this table, we need to know what they are. I can't just manually drag and drop and create a relationship. I have to know how this US-22 gets related with unit 22, or how this plant gets related to this gen, or how these generators are being used in any of these plants. So one of that is that I know is, and I can say a scenario of that, every plant have a gen, or every generator or every company that is using a generator, they have a plant, and the government have already captured those type of informations, and this is their plant. And all I can do there is I can look for, remember the table name I went back to copy out, which is the facility code. Then I can come around here and look at the facility codes. Look for the facility code, DO facility code. Then that is another big thing right here. Copy this off, copy this out. So what I'm trying to say in essence, I'm going to skip this. And what I'm trying to say in essence, you have to understand the tables the type of data you are working in order to be able to draw the relationship or connect out the relate with one another. And once you are able to do that and you have a well-structured model view, then we are good. I will show you an example of what a model view, a correct model view look like in a minute. Okay. Now, again, it's hard for me to figure out the plant name because the data I loaded in is too big, not ambiguous, but too big, too much of rows, and I might not be needing all those rows. And this is one of the important things whereby instead of bringing those tables direct into Power BI for the engine to do, yes, we can do everything within Power BI. It is also good to create a view if you have an opportunity to have to work directly inside that database. You can create a view from those data sets, and then once you have that view, it will be there. It will make the life of an analytics, a data analytics, more easier to then go ahead and start reporting or dissecting those views because the major task has been done. Now I truly can't see the it said D. Can I see D right here? Okay, I have plant right here. Let me look here. I have this right here too. I can say boom. One-to-one relationship. Yes, that is type of relationship I want. Every plant have a generator. And once I do that, I would go like this so I can know from this table, a plant, I can pick up a plant, and from that plant, a plant, this is one-to-many relationship. We have a plant right here, and a plant is more likely for a plant to have 3, 4 generator. So we have a whole lot of generator. A generator can only belongs to one plant. So that is what this relationship is doing. Now, again, let's look at this table again and look for, with the table name UNT22, I have to go back to the metadata and understand exactly what the table is all about in order to know how I want to connect those data sets. And to proceed, and because of time constraint, let's just work on this data set right here, these two tables right here, plant and generator. And now, so I have plant and generator. These are the two tables I'll be working with, even though I bring a whole lot of tables out right here. So what I'm going to do next is I can tell plant is my elder table and generator is my plant is my fact table and generator is occurrences of what can happen. I can use it in, no, let me recap that. The generator is also a fact table, and the plant, I can then use it to filter what happened at each on each generator. Now, let me just bring out, I won't do that. I will just come here and say table. Now, I have the plant, right? I will be using this plant information as a filter table because I can then use it to drill down onto the gen table, and I can then start bringing out details, the year. But again, I have not cleaned up this data set, and this is not the one I work with, but I just want to show you the process of how you can inject in a data and transform those data and connect your relationship using Power BI. And with the project I did earlier, this is the view I created for that table. And now we can use the table, use this view. This is a view, and I'm going to talk to you about this view. Take you there, which will be by 5 o'clock. Because of time constraint, this is going to stop at 4:45. So by the time we go down to where this view is, we're going to go into the advanced analytics and walk around to see how this table, how this view was being developed. But in a simple one, before time comes in, what I would like to do is I won't create a report like this. Although I might have that report being developed like this, just because I want to understand what is going on, what this is, what is a filter, what this plant name is as a filter. I can just have all these things. This is basically how I get myself familiarized with the data set without having really deep understanding of the table, or maybe I didn't create those architecture for those table, and I just want to understand what is going on. This is one thing I will do. And this, just by bringing them out one by one, getting myself familiarized to it. And once that is done, I will now I'm not talking about development. What was it called? Template, table view. And one of those things I do is come here. I have a design template that I used. Let me go desktop, dashboard. And I'll do boom. This is one of my preferred templates, and I'm going to show you here this blank one, and I have a simple answer for it, and I would like to share that with you. This gray background is one of the most unique and adopted background worldwide. You can.
So can you go back to how you do the background?
Say that again, sir.
Can you go back to how you come to this background?
Oh, okay. This is just my what's it called? This is the PowerPoint presentation. This is just an image that I have already saved in my system. And what I did here was come back to this background, and this is the background right here. So the background changed. And one of the reasons is it changed from white to gray. And why is it gray is if you go to any website, maybe start from today, you will see them having a gray background because it's one of the universal adopted background that people adopt a lot. Like it makes your report user feel calmed. It is not too busy. And another one, I can cancel that and use another background that I have. And those backgrounds, if you have a very good knowledge, let me do this here. If you know how to use, what's it called? If you know how to use PowerPoint, you can design this background with PowerPoint the way you want it, how you want your layout. And once you have a beautiful layout like this, then all this rough analysis that I did earlier, you can then start embedding it, adjusting it, and then your report will be, voila, beautiful. So right on time, we have 45 minutes. We are right at 4:45. Let me go back here. 4:45, so we can take some more questions. Please, let's have these questions before we proceed. I want more questions. Please come on mute and ask me. Within how to create a report, how to create a template, or how to design or this. And I'll urge you to still go online, go on YouTube, or take a course with Power BI. And one of the reasons I adopted myself, ever since I adopt using Power BI, it have truly advanced my knowledge in my career, and I have learned so much about it just because I adopt these particular tools. And these tools alone take me, it have opened so many doors for me, and it's still going, and not just doors, opportunities of doors, and knowledge. More knowledge have come around it because of me using Power BI. There's a new technology in town that was being introduced, which is Microsoft Fabric. I might not even go into it, but it is related with Power BI, so it is in my field, so I have to go. So it's advanced, and the moment, because I adapt to this technology, the more this technology get advanced, I advance myself with it. So I would like to say that, and this is 4:46 again. I want more questions so I can be more dynamic with what I'm saying. Please, guys.
Hi, Dallas.
Yes.
So, for a beginner, what kind of courses do you recommend? Like do you recommend some LinkedIn courses on Power BI or like for a beginner person?
Very good question. You can pick one on YouTube and just follow through. There are so many tons of, let me say, if you can pay for YouTube, no advertisements, then you should be able to go and start with YouTube. We have so many gurus, and I'm going to share them with you now. I have one right here. So this is a very good guy. I'm going to introduce this Kelvin Stamp. It's, it talks a whole lot about Power BI from, let me play it and just stop. It talks so much about Power BI topics, and you can easily go to his channel right here, go to playlist, and, look at those Power BI playlists and just pick it. I'm pretty sure if I go to some of my playlists, not history playlist, I should have saved some long time ago, and I don't know now. Playlist.
And also, as a student, so what kind of certifications you have done on the Power BI?
The certifications, that is a good question too. The certifications are very useful, and it's going to tell you, I'll tell you, the questions in the certifications is going to show you and help you shape through how things need to be done. You might be using Power BI and this is how you use it. But once you take the certification, the scenarios of the questions, how the questions will be put together and ask you to answer those questions is a way of telling you how it is meant to be. So if you have knowledge about Power BI, I will still encourage you to go ahead and just take DP 300, which is Power BI certification. PL 300, which is Power BI certification, and is going to enlighten more of your knowledge. And again, you can easily come here.
Can you send out this link to us? Like maybe mail the old link to us after the class?
Yes. Yep. Yeah. I have some link to share at the end of the video though. I have a few links right here to share with you, but there are some I did not put in it because I didn't, and I'm happy this question is coming on now.
And also, Dallas, I have some friends who are working in real time on Power BI data analytics. So they have told me that in real time work, only 30% of Excel knowledge will be used, and most of the times, it's like 70% they will be using the Power BI. So, do you think the Excel knowledge is, not that much crucial for data analytics?
I want to tell you something. All you need to know, if you don't know anything and you want to pick one, I would say choose Excel. I use Excel every day at work, every day. If I didn't use it in a day, trust me, I'm using it 2 times a week. Excel is one of the biggest tools you want to use, and you want to know, trust me, there are still functions of things I don't know in Excel. I just look at my phone timeline or on LinkedIn, and see someone show me something about Excel.
I'm asking Excel, not the Agile.
Excel, I'm talking about Excel,
okay.
This, right?
All right.
Yeah, Excel is very good. Even though I've been using Excel more than 10 years now, and trust me, I still don't know all about those functionalities. I'm still learning to it. And if I want to do anything within it, I'm working on Excel. Yes, to answer your question, Excel is very important. You can't do without Excel. And I would ask you, if you want to ask me, what do you do? Just go ahead, learn Excel. And you can't learn it all in a day, right? Just get yourself familiarized with Excel. And once you know that, get yourself familiarized with Power BI. And with those two things, you are very good. Because if you are not analyzing data using Power BI, you will be doing some cleaning. And if you want to be good at Excel, look for dirty data and clean. Like this type of data set, this is not even dirty enough to me. This is not dirty. These are clean data sets. Look for dirty data set that have different types of different types of description. This is the company name, right? A data set that have descriptions, and you want to split those something. Like I can do this right now. I can have a requirement right now. Dallas, can you please pick out Excel function or any company, all the LLC companies from this Excel sheet? I may not know that. I might have to Google that. And I can just say, okay, if I have the knowledge of that, I can do this. We have 6 minutes. Let's see what we can come up with. I can say, okay, again, not to brag about my Excel skill, but I have a function that do the same thing. If I have, so back to my question is, I want to get out, Excel is very important. I want to get out all the companies with Excel. I think I have a function. I use this of recent. Let me go back and see that. And you want to save your files. The more you save your files, it's going to make your life easy in terms of trying to think through of a particular code, because all this code we are using, they are in most cases reusable, right? And the functions that work here can be used again in somewhere else. So let me grab one function out here, and I will say, is this done? Yep. I will say, these all amnesty data set. Yes, I'm going to use this function, and I see the function right here now. And all I'm going to do is let me just paste them, copy this function right here. I will do this, and I'll say LLC, and I'll say I want to check in here for me. It's a comma, it's LLC, comma, yes or no. Yeah. It's a delete this, and I'll say this right here. Not A2A, I will do A2. I will do A2. Do 22 for 22 greater than X, if not, count F. But what I'm trying to do right now is I'm trying to check if there is an LLC, or I just want to return yes or no, and it's going to do that. So Excel is good. I won't disturb myself about that. Excel is good. If you know Excel, you will definitely need it every day. Next question.
I have a question.
Okay, sir.
My question is, I do most of my question is like just in two form. I do most of my data processing and most of the plotting on Python. So I wanted to ask, like, do you think like pivoting to using Power BI, is it possible to like do like data processing and all those transformation? Is it something I can do on Power BI as well? And second one is if I want to pivot to Power BI, like how long can it take to like be able to like master it?
Oh, I love that question. Trust me, all you need is a week. You can know anything. It's amounts of time and delegation and hands-on practice. And if you can do that for 1 week, then you should be good to go. And what will make you be good in it is when you have different problems to solve on it on a daily basis. So back to your question, how long will it take? I would say a week. Just pick up a course, go about it. And what is good about those courses is because look for a course that they are going to give you a hands-on an hands-on project to work on. If you can Google any course like that, then that would be a greater course to do. You can go on Microsoft Learn too and start with Power BI. Microsoft have a whole lot of learning documentation, and that you can just go there, just do Microsoft Learn Power BI and follow all those documentation from the beginner. Before this slide stops, I'm going to pull up that Power BI, how to start with Power BI. And that, so your second question regarding Python and how Python can be useful to you is the next phase of where we are going now, going next. I got my time wrong. This should be 5. So it's the next, okay. 4:45. Okay, I think we still have a few more times. Yeah, by 5 o'clock, we're going to move. So by 5 o'clock, we are moving, I think this around, by 5 o'clock, we are moving to Fabric. And inside Fabric, we can demonstrate how you can use Python. And when you talk about Python, I'm pretty sure you are using a notebook to work with your Python. Yes or no?
Yeah, I use notebook, yes.
Yeah. So inside Fabric, there we have notebook, and you can use any advanced programming language with like Python, Perl, Scala within Microsoft Fabric. So that's it. Next question. We have a few more. I think we are supposed to end up this by 5 o'clock, by 6 o'clock. So this should be 4, 5, and this should be 6. Yep. This should be 4 right here. My bad. I'm following this time. Once it's 5 o'clock, we then dissect so Fabric and do what we have on Fabric. So let me have just this correct there. So basically, according to our agenda for today, this is a break section. And this is what we use our break for. So by 500, we will proceed with Microsoft Fabric. So Microsoft Learn and Power BI, pathway. And this is another place you want to come. Microsoft Learn module. You can pick up any module in here and just start from it. Like if you pick your role, let's just say a data analyst. And another thing I'm going to like to tell you, if you are a data analyst, trust me, the next bigger role for you is data engineering. And I'm going to prove that with this filter. Now look at this filter right here. When I say a business, now let me say a business analyst, I see what other options are available for a business analyst. But now I'm not doing that. I'm doing a data analyst. For a data analyst, trust me, you will be doing more of data engineering. And what you are doing in data engineering is you are cleaning data. You will have to work with big data sets. You will have to do those data modeling. And once you are doing all that, those are data engineering roles. And kudos to you that graduate from a Power BI user now to data engineering. Now we have 500. Let's kick up with the next section. And we will do a quick recap of what we've done today. Now, the next section is the web, Microsoft Fabric. Microsoft Fabric, and I'm going to come here and say, no, this browser, and say, voila, let's come. One thing I would like to talk, I have this already. Once you finish this report, right, this is a report I did, right, and you want to share it with someone else, you have to pay, both you and that person have to be on a pro account, and that pro account costs $10 per month, and you can share a link for let me just save this with a different name. And I'll do that, then we'll do Power BI, and we'll do Fabric because that is where it goes next. Let me just do 2. and I will say desktop. No, not desktop, downloads, and I will save it there. Then I will then publish this report to Dix Workspace, and it's going to generate a link for us, and we are going to go deep into Fabric for the next 45 minutes. Now I have that link. I can open this link on which one can I use? Let me use this right here. Let me use this one just now and got it. Yep, I'm enjoying it so far. Thank you. Thank you. Come up. Yeah, this is the report I just published that let's assume we designed this report together, right? We don't have time. So this is the report I just published. It's a report 2, and this is it on the web. And that is what we used to call Power BI service. And I can consume it, but for me to let someone else being able to see what I have done on this report, that person must have to be, that user have to be on my tenant and have a pro license to be able to use this report as well. But they don't have to have a pro license. I can embed this report in a different application whereby they can only view it, analyze it, but they won't be able to export data type. For me, I can export a data here. If I want this data, I can export that data. But if I embed it, someone else might not be able to do much of those exportation, but they can, work around with the data set. So with that being said, I don't need that. So this is Power BI, and this is what basically Power BI environment looks like when you are on a pro account. When you are on a pro account. Now, I'm going into Fabric. Now, I'm using this and say home. And from this home, I can tell you this is Fabric account. This is Fabric account. You can tell this is I'm using a pro license, but this is a Fabric account, and I'm using a free trial. If I have not activated my free trial, you will see a green box here that will say try Fabric for the first time, and it's going to give you a 60 days function. I'm using a developer's account, and I have more ability. Once the 60-day trial has ended, I can create another one or re-extend my trial. So let's just go back to the basic here. Microsoft Fabric, that used to be known as Power BI service. Remember, this is Power BI desktop, and this is the Power BI service, whereby you can only have group of reports, share your reports. You can have multiple workspace on here. I can come here, create a new workspace, and so, yep. Let me do one thing right here real quick. Let's say AMS workspace is going to get Andy right now real quick, and I'll fast. And by 5:30, if I think I don't have more time no more, then you can see me jumping from one team to another. So I have time now. Let's start. So workspace, I'll call it 2. I think I already have one. I'll call it workspace 2. Workspace 2, AMS workshop 2. Let's say, workshop. Let me just use a different mark here. Let me do AMS_workshop. And what I want to do is, because I'm in a Fabric account, this is a Fabric trial. This is a Fabric. If I don't want to use a Fabric for this workspace, then I will say just a Pro. And if I choose Pro here, I won't be able to use Fabric items. Fabric items like using a notebook, using advanced analytics, I won't be able to do that. But I want to do that. And this is what advanced analytics talks about. And I'm going to say, I'm using a free trial. This is a Fabric trial account. If not, it's supposed to say Fabric account. But because Fabric trial, that is it. And I'm going to leave everything the way it is. And I'm going to apply that. And before I go, okay, I can come back and talk about this. We have time. What Fabric is doing for us right now? Yeah, I don't know. Let me just keep proceeding. So now what I want to do now is still about today's agenda, okay? we are not going out of scope. It's still about today's agenda, analyzing this data set, and this is the data set we are going to work on again now. And this is the first time, but I want to bring my data into Fabric. How can I go about that? So, okay, let's create a scenario. Let's say the data is already in the warehouse, but I need a warehouse to store those data sets. Okay, let's create a new warehouse. There's no warehouse on this list. I'm going to search right here, look for a warehouse. This is a lakehouse. You can see it right here, a warehouse. It's going to take a minute. It's coming up. All right. So this warehouse, I'm going to give it AMIS underscore warehouse, right? It's going to create a new warehouse for me. And once that is being created, I can do something else, but I don't want to do that. Let's watch it and enjoy the process together. All right. Seems like everything is done. And what happened now is it automatically creates a schema for us. And the inside the schema, there are nothing embedded in the schema as of now. So what I'm going to do next is inject my data in. And how can we use, what type of tools do we have available to inject the data in Fabric into a warehouse? I can use Dataflow Gen 2, which is very, very powerful. You have to understand this concept, and it's going to be funny right now. And we can also use but in a nutshell, we are going to use this too, but in different scenario. For this purpose, for this scenario right now, I'm going to use Dataflow Gen 2. I believe we all know what Gen 2 is the new function of when it used to be Gen 1. Gen 1 limitation is, I think, still more on the desk, and different applications use that. Now, can someone tell me what we are seeing right now, or what does it look like? Any volunteer? Have you seen this before today? All right. I think this is, if we go back to Power BI transform data, the Power Query editor, it looks just like a Power Query editor. You know, just this interface. Right here, it's like Microsoft Excel too, like Excel. Remember that Excel, get data, you know, that function, that ribbon. One of the reasons I love Microsoft, its technology is because of this ribbon, you know, they keep it unique and consistent. So now I know where my data is. I'm going to import from Excel. I know where the data is. I'm going to upload those data in, and this is the data set we just downloaded earlier today. Open that. It's loading, taking its time, doing its thing. Next. Taking time, doing this thing. So remember, I have few selected tables. I will like to take in right here. These are my selected tables. Yep. Great. Now, only different in Power BI Desktop, which is Power Query, we will still have transform load, but in this place, it's a cancel or create, but I want to create. And what it's going to do right now is load it back into the query engine, but it's not Power Query engine no more here, but it's Dataflow Gen 2. That is what we are seeing in here. Now that I have all these tables in here, I'm going to do the same thing. You know what? These are the name. Remember, in the previous exercise, I used this first column as the column, but in this exercise, I'm going to use these aberrations as column. Reason being is because this is the one I used earlier on when I first did the project, this project. That is what I did here. And I'm going to copy some code from here and just copy paste so that everything can work smoothly without time saving, with time savings in mind. So what I'm going to do now is, yes, I'm just going to come here, use promote header, promote header, promote first row as header, promote first row as header. Boom, boom, we have that. Now we're going to do the same thing here. Promote first row as headers. Promote first row as header. Boom, boom. We are using this abbreviated headers. Okay, let's do it again here. Boom. One more. Boom. We have this and this. Boom. Boom. I truly don't remember why I am still bringing in this table, because earlier I didn't think I used this table at all. I just don't know why I'm still using it. Now, another thing is you can tell the system is still auto changing, applying some step for me. And how can we do that in here, whereby in Power BI, I can go back to the Power BI interface here to configure the options of what I want. And yeah, we still have the same functionality in Power BI and in the web service in Fabric. And what this is it right here. You just have to come to options, data, load. I'll say enable. Okay, I've already disabled it right here. You see, it's up to the third column header. This one is on, so I'm going to uncheck it and I'm going to say, okay, I don't want that. Everything look good right now. And another thing I want you to see that we don't have in Power BI editor, the difference. You can see this is the Power Query right here. You can see the same query step right here. Look at this angle right here. There's nothing in here, but in Dataflow Gen 2. Now it's asking me, what destination do you want to keep this data? Because you need me to grab you a data. Where do you want me to put it? Okay, I have declared it automatically. Say is a warehouse. So the data is going into the warehouse, and I can say publish now. Gonna let it done. Go on, run that process for a minute. Dataflow Gen 2. And once this done without error, I'm going to rename it. And the reason being renaming it is next time I come back online, I'll be able to understand exactly what Dataflow Gen 2 is doing. So let it keep spanning, and we go back into the data warehouse. You can see warehouse. Yeah, successful publish, everything look good, reflection. And I can say, let this load finish, and we'll come here. Don't break it. Don't break it. And another thing around all this is, what will I like to talk about? Why that is loading? What can I talk about in here? This is the view, the liner, the table. If you are familiar with Power BI Pro Service, you will understand this line whereby you know where those data are coming in and where they are being connected to. I'm pretty sure some of us know what that means. Why this is loading, and before I change this, there's another thing I remember. In Power BI, in Fabric, the new thing about Fabric is when it used to be, and it's still Power BI service, not every company is adopting Fabric out of this moment. Only a few companies are doing that, and only if we have less users using it. And that is where it bigs. That is the future, and we still have less people using it. And that is a unique opportunity for us if we are not using it and we don't have a technology of our own that we can truly brag about. I think this is one good one to pick on, because it's a future. Everybody are coming into it, and there are less people who know it. You know, if you can get yourself locked in and start collecting more, at least get yourself adopt this application, then you will be more valuable in the futures to come. I mean, we are all valuable now. Let me do one thing right here, change this, give it a descriptive name. I will just say into warehouse. Then I will say that, and I don't need to publish anything. I just can name it, and I will say, do you want to, let me publish again. I don't want to break anything. And why all this though is going on, you can see I didn't do much thing. Oh, let me just why this is doing its thing right here, let me talk about this. If it is Power BI Pro, we will only have this Power BI, but because it is Fabric, these are Fabric contents, whereby we can now have our Synapse, Analytics, Engineer, and I would like to quickly come back here and talk about Synapse. I'm pretty sure a few of us know a few things about Synapse and what Synapse is another very good analytic tools we've been using before Fabric come into place. And it's like Fabric is taking over everything, like Power BI, Synapse is so embedded into Fabric. And the objective of Fabric is just to make it our life more easy as a one place, one destination of being able to perform our analytics without going using a different method, a different warehouse, like let's say AWS warehouse or that Oracle, IBM DB or Oracle database, and you have to bring that data from there, from Oracle into Power BI or into Fabric is the universal engine now that can consume all this information in its own interface, and it's all in the cloud online. And the only thing you are paying for is the compute we are using. So that is a quick review on that. Now, what I'm going to do next is I have my data in the lakehouse, in the warehouse. Let's go back to the warehouse and see what is going on. Remember before, there is nothing in, remember when I clicked this before, we don't have the schema. But because I have loaded in, I came here to use the Cloudflow Gen 2 to load the data. The system recognizes it and it automatically creates a schema and a database for it and it created the tables, and these are the tables we loaded in, and these are tables. I didn't do much other than load, and the system automatically do this. Remember, if someone else, it takes a pro engineer to be able to have set a data set in a warehouse, but with today, citizen developers like us can easily do what can leverage with the advanced engineers that have been doing this in the early 90s, and without them, all this won't even come to play. So kudos to them. So now that we have that data right here, all I'm going to do is I created a view back to this place where, like I said, I'm going to talk about how this table come to play. It's a view I created, and I would love to create this view again with you using the same code. And all I need to do now is come here, write a new query. And now that I have the new query and I'm using the same name, and I will just do simple copy paste, I don't have to do much. And let's say copy paste. And now all I need to do is change this. I will say Ctrl F. This is the previous warehouse I was using before. Now I will do Ctrl H. Ctrl H, and this is the new warehouse name. And I will replace all. And with that, I should be able to run this query successfully. We have an error, stop procedure. I'm not using any stop procedure. MS. So copy this, close this, delete this query, come back here. No. And I can view this data, and I won't do that, or I will just do select all. If that can work, then I can use the same levels to ensure I have the correct table name. Yep, that's correct. So run this query again. Invalid table names. Gen 2, planet, unique, and USA. All right. One more thing. So basically what I was doing there is this. I'm switching to a different workspace now. I performed this earlier on today just to make sure I'm not spending time debugging errors. So right now, where is it? Queries. So this is the same query that I'm using. The table, the query ran successfully. I'm using this particular query right here, but the only difference is Control H. And if I have this as this, come back here, copy this, and I'll say this to this, reflect how, copy this, undo this, close this. And let me see if this will run successfully and we can proceed from there. If not, I know what to do. Invalid object name is not, but we have it. This is it right here. This is that. This is the data. This is the environment, the database. This is the database, and this is the table. And we have the table in here. And it's telling me invalid object name. All right. I won't waste too much time on that, but basically this is the table right here, and this is the query right here. This query, I've modified it, and I'm going to, it's a view. I'm creating a view, and this is the view name, and I can come there under my view, and this is the view that I have created, and that is the same view I use in creating this report right here, this view right here, unadjusted emissions. So this is the same view right here. So basically, I will go back here. Since this is not working right now, I will just say this, close this, and I will easily write this. No, just do this. You can see what I'm trying to say. You can see if I say select, the system automatically, SSMS machine also do that. The SQL Server Analysis machine, SSMS, also do that, whereby it auto bring out all this for you. And another thing I would like to talk about is I can also come here and say, create. I'm not creating, I'm only viewing something right now. This is SQL. I'm running SQL inside Microsoft Fabric. That is one of the advantages of Microsoft Fabric. And not just that, I can come in here inside this table, or I can come here and create a new schema, and I can call that schema name. Let me say, students. And I can run it. And I didn't have to write create schema. The system auto create that schema for me, auto give me the template of what the names of what I need to use now. Now, this is the schema that I just created. And now with this schema, I can still do more and say create tables. And then we can then bring this out and do just few things here. I think I have some things I write out few things here. Yep. This is it right here. For demonstration purpose, copy this and do this right here. Well, just copy this right here and say, I can say student. I'll just call that table student table. I'll just call it, let me leave it student table, and I will just bomb here, declare my table name, the columns I need inside that table, and I can basically run that, and voila, we have that table is now embedded in it. Let me run this table and see what is going on in here. I don't need top 100. I just need this. Run it. Now we don't have no data inside that table, and we can do something else here. Close this. We don't have nothing inside that table. I can close that, and I will say I need this right here. This here. It's the students. Copy this right here. And basically what I'm doing here is I'm trying to insert few records in the system before we proceed and do something else. Invalued. Close this. Delete, 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 delete. Now, create new table. I want to say insert new record is insert new record here. I need the schema name. Yep. Now I will now say paste this table here and insert AMIS student yes, value. Yeah, then I will just highlight this on this. Insert record. Invalid color name. And what's the color name? Basically, you understand what I'm trying to do here. I'm not doing too much debugging. Is we can run SQL query inside Microsoft Fabric. And now that I have this data set in this environment, but I'm trying to right now, where is it? View. I'm trying to run a view query right here. I run into an error, but I performed that earlier, and this is it right here. Now, how can I move this view into a lakehouse? And from a lakehouse, how can we consume it with Notebook? So let's go back here. Close this, and come back here. I'm using this. This is the workspace I just opened, but this is the workspace I've opened earlier. But let me go to the one I just opened so you see how it looks like. Come back here. I have the data, load data into a warehouse. Now, the next step is move data from a warehouse, to a lakehouse. But before I can move data into a warehouse, I need a lakehouse. So I have to come back here and create a new lakehouse. Okay, this is a lakehouse. I'll call it AMIS underscore lakehouse. All right, now that we have this lakehouse, I would like to do something next. Again, is use a pipeline to copy data into this lakehouse. So I'll give it a descriptive name, get data into lakehouse. It's creating. And come to think about it, we might have our data living in different place and we want to perform this type of analytics. We have to use a different tools like Big Talent or Celigo to achieve the same objective. But the good thing now is with Fabric, we can do everything in one place. So all I'm going to do now again is I'm going to connect to my lakehouse, to my data warehouse. You said copy data into Lakehouse. Yes, so I'm going to pick where the data is right now, is in a warehouse. So this is the new warehouse I just created. And let me see, do I have more other warehouse here? Yep, this is the new warehouse I just created. Now, table or query. Now, you can see the student table I created earlier on, and these are those data sets in here. And one thing I've learned to understand is it's better to query directly here. I can put in my query in here, which I can go back here and bring the same. I think I close it. I close it, but I close it. But I think I have it here. Bring the same table, the same query, paste the query in here, but I know that is not the name here. So let me use these tools to copy, paste, Ctrl H. What is this name called? Boom. And what is the new AMRS underscore data warehouse? Boom. Replace all. Boom. So I'm afraid we might run into a little error, and if we do, I will go back to the pre-designed solution I have. But I just want to run this in your present, and while I can bring in those tables directly in here if it is a query, but remember I still need to do some join analysis to some join statement for that query. But I can, instead of me doing all that, I can basically query those tables direct while I'm within the pipeline engine. So let me do next. So I ran this query earlier on, it didn't go. So let's see if we can review some data here. So the object names the underscore. So what is the query name? So let me just confirm this, and what I need to do is come back here. I have different workspace. So go back to this workspace. What is the workspace name? Close this workspace. Yeah, this is the new workspace I created. This is the name. Undo, Ctrl H. So undo, cancel this, undo, Ctrl spin H and spell this. I think this is the name, and I'm having a different name in here. So that is one of the errors. Just to understand, I'm using the right environment name. No, that is not it. Replace all. Copy this. Yeah, I think that is the name. That is the name warehouse, not capital. All right, let's just connection. But I'm using a different warehouse name. This should be underscores. This is where my connection is. This is where it is. Let me see what this is going to give me. I'm going to run into an error. Yeah. So let me get this right. Come back here. Refresh this page. My bad. Refresh this page. And yeah, this is the new one I just created. Yeah, this is the new one I just created. So this is what I should be looking for in here. So I can go back and do recommend, recent, and I should be looking for AMRS underscore warehouse. Let me see the warehouse name. This is the warehouse name. This is the warehouse name. So this is the warehouse I'm looking my target. So that is it right there. So if that is my warehouse name, then these two should be this, and this. And Let's preview and see what's going on here. Remember, we will always run into an error and we have to debug file. The more we do that, the more we understand the process. So invalid column name. So I think I'm missing some column. By the time I imported this data set, something I'm missing and something is missing right here, column name. Let me run one more query right here. And if that is not working, then I have a solution. I have a prepared solution. So let's come back here. Let's go to this. This is the original one. And let's go to warehouse. And let's go straight to this query. Come on, come on. I'm not using step procedure. I didn't close this. All right. I didn't get what I needed in here. Back here. The one we had into. So let's go back here. And what I'm going to do is inside that warehouse. So I don't need this table that I'm trying to create. I need this. I don't need this one. I need this one right here. And this is what I need. And I need all this. All I just need is the connection name, which is this two right here. And now which to me look like the same thing. Nothing is changing. And that is all I need here. So it's talking about the errors, column name invalid, column name invalid. So there are some column name missing in here. Now I need to spend more time debugging that. If this doesn't work, I will show you to what I'm expecting to happen after this. Then we can proceed on to the next one because of time constraint. All right, no problem. So earlier today, I opened this workshop and the same thing right here. I'm trying to move this data into warehouse, into a lakehouse. I have created a warehouse and I'm trying to move data now into a lakehouse, right? So I use this pipeline. I didn't create it, move data from warehouse to lakehouse. So that is where we are stuck in here, right? So I'm going to use this different workspace to do it. And now what I'm doing right here, let me come here straight and I'll do it one over again in a different workspace, in this workspace, but a different pipeline. So let me come back here and create a new pipeline. And I'm going to use a different name. Okay. Get data into lakehouse. Get data warehouse to lakehouse. I'm going to say copy. I'm going to say copy data, add to canvas. So this is the same process. And this is the same process of what I'm doing here, but the interface is just a little bit different. And I can take you back to this interface if you are curious. But let's get this done first. So you can see. So let me pick the data from this warehouse that I created. Let me confirm. Does it have underscore? Yeah, it has underscore. Yeah, this is it. I have done this earlier, so this shouldn't break. Ooh, time is running faster. Time is running faster. Time is running faster. So student, this is it, this is it. Time is running faster. You know what? Let me abort this and go straight into something that might be interesting because of the timing. So let me just go in here. No, in here. So this is the original workspace I worked in when I did this project, and these are all I did. So after having the data in the warehouse, I copy it. I use a pipeline to copy that data from warehouse into a lakehouse, and that's activities performed. After that, I can then analyze that data inside the notebook, and this is a notebook right here. So let me open this notebook. In case this doesn't open, I think I have one more option. So I'm going to close this. Then I'm going to ask you a few questions. Then we will be rounding up. So I'm going to open this. I've tested this earlier today and this works. So this is my backup for this presentation. So instead of me using this, let me just focus on this. So what I'm going to do now is I have created, with Fabric, we have created a warehouse. We copy data from a warehouse to a lakehouse using a pipeline. And now that we have a data in our lakehouse, now we can then being able to use a notebook. And this is my notebook right here. And with this notebook, I wish I have time, I will be able to walk you through all these steps one by one again. But with this notebook, I have the ability to use many things. So I can write SQL statements, and what I did there was to write a SQL statement, and I've already written a SQL statement, and I believe everything should run finish by the time I am trying to round up within the next 7 minutes. So I'm expecting an error, and I'm going to estimate that error to you. And if you are familiar, if you're already taking SQL class with Dr. Mark, you will have understand that most of these SQL statements is basic statements that it taught us. And you can find all this in my GitHub page. You can download it and follow my process. And whenever you need help around or you get stuck, you can always call on me. Then I'll be happy to help debug the problem together. Now, I was expecting an error. Where is it? I'm expecting an error, so I can talk about that error, then I can stop. Yeah. No, okay, we still have time. The error is coming soon. Yep, the error is coming soon. So this is basic SQL statement inside a notebook. And for you, they are not all, I won't say not all. Some engines, you have to install some package in some notebook or in some pandas, in some Markdown notebook for you to be able to use the SQL. But with Fabric, it's all embedded, it's built-in. I can write a SQL query, and now this is the error that I'm expecting to come. And the reason why this error comes is on this notebook, I kick up this notebook analysis with a SQL statement, which is a Spark SQL. And I later on decide, you know what, let me perform some big analytics. I'm not really familiar with Python, but I'm good with R. So I then switch my statement to R statements. Now, when I click on run, it's still running because it's looking for Spark SQL. All the Spark SQL statements are successful, but because on this section, unit is now R statements. All I just need to do right now is convert this to Spark R. Then again, voila. I have to run this, and this will run. And remember, if I click on roll on, all this one might break because it will be running R. But at least we have the flexibility of us being able to switch from one statement to another programming language, and it can be universal with different developers working on different teams. And on this project right here, I basically perform this analytics in here, all these R statements with a different account, Dallas, but also the same notebook is what I'm using in here, but it's a different name, Babatunde Dallas. And what basically I'm trying to explain in here is different developers, we can collaborate by sharing a notebook and work along together on it. And that is it. I'm like to stop right there. You have the experience of what it takes to use a Fabric and to use Microsoft and to use Power BI for data analytics and what is embedded inside Fabric. Any question, please? It's a lot. I know it's a lot to consume. It's a lot. But I can't complete all in an hour, especially when we are debugging, running into errors. Question, please.
Are you going to send the materials to us?
Come back again. Say that one more time, please.
And are you going to send the materials to us?
Yeah. So this is the materials. And do you mind? Can you take a screenshot, or let me take the screenshot? And if you don't mind, take a screenshot. And anything, your go-to is Microsoft Learn. And another thing is join the Fabric community. Once you join the community, you will see a whole lot of things people are talking about, their questions, and it might be your own question too. And don't get surprised. Someone might ask a question that you know, and once you get engaged and you start sharing your knowledge, then the sky is the limit. And another thing I will encourage you all to do is I will want you to join this Microsoft Student Ambassador program, because it is not open for everybody. It is only open for students, and we are all students in here, and it is one of the good things we might need in our back going forward. Look for this program, Microsoft Student Ambassador. Get engaged in the community. You will love it. And my keynote tonight is adopt a technology. Adopt a technology for yourself. And the more that technology you go with it. For me, I choose Power BI, and Power BI, I've gone to Microsoft Fabric and the Fuchsia, so many things, so many analytic things involved on it, and I'm going along with it. So that is it. More questions? I'm giving it back to the president, AMIS, to round up these sections. And I think, do I have 5 more minutes? More question, please. Answer, please. Let's start. Did you take a screenshot? Do you still want me to share this link inside? Let me drop this. Copy down, come down. Copy this. Copy all these and go to the chat button. Drop this. Yep. And let me scan through the chat. Maybe we have anyone who might have dropped a question. All right, no question from anyone. Please, I want someone to come. Let's come online, and thank you for those who have been asking questions. I've not been seeing this, so if I can pronounce your name as I see you talking, but yeah, the floor is yours. We have 5 more minutes. All right. I think we all learned something new tonight, and it's not just that. You can do more research about it, and another thing I would like to share is this GitHub link, so that you can review the project we talk about today on your time. And if you want to walk around with it, you can do it. How is this? Yeah, what is the difference between Tableau and Power BI? Very good question. It's the same analytic tools, but I use Tableau. I don't use Tableau. I use Power BI. I don't use Tableau. Reason being is because I tried it, and my place of works, they use Power BI, and it makes it easy for me. And we use Power BI, and that is what I've been using ever since then afterwards. And even though I will be looking for a new job tomorrow, trust me, I won't apply if it's Tableau. Not because I don't want to know it, but I want to adapt. I have adapted technology, and I am going with that technology. That is my own personal knowledge and my own intake. If you want to choose any other technology, you want to be able to surround yourself with every other technology or other new functionality that technology have to offer. Then you can, if someone can now say, ask question about it, then you can be able to step forward and grab, but share your knowledge on it.
Sorry, did you learn Power BI before getting a job, or Did you learn it on the job?
I learned it by myself, and it wasn't enough until I have a job on it, and I started having different requirements to come up, and that is when I have learned so much. Oh, Adewale, we share the same name, Babatunde Adewale. Thank you. I'm just seeing that now. So yeah, I learned it. I learned about it myself. I'm someone who is aspire about technology, and thank God to my mentors who brought me into it and point me into that direction of Power BI. And then I also learned Tableau too. I just love Power BI the most because, let me say, the ribbon, it's more easy for me to familiarize. And another thing I learned the most is the module view, being able to see the module, because before then I used to use Eflin, EWRI Eflin. That is one tool, is it for data modular. But with Power BI, you can do those modules in it, and that makes it easy for me. Amos, more question. I see you typing. Why were you getting errors on most everything you are doing? Yeah, this is try and error. I'm opening multiple. First and foremost, I'm trying to copy paste. And why am I? Well, first and foremost, I want to show you the process of what I'm doing. I just don't want to come online and start running pre-designed project and say, this is what I do, this is how I do. But I'm trying to get our hand dirty. And trust me, this project that I was bragging about that I did, that we just did in this park, before I could get to this, it took me days. It's not just one night. It took me days, hours. I ran into errors and I have to Google that error. So back to your question, and back to your question again, one of it is because I'm trying to copy from one environment and nervous with time and monitoring time. There's too much going on. And that is why I'm getting into an error. And bear in mind, you will also get into an error every time you work. And the more we debug those errors, it's going to be time consuming and you will learn from it. That is a very good question, though. Yo, thank you. You can find me on LinkedIn. Google me. My name is Babatunde Dallas. View page. This is me. So let me paste it right here. My LinkedIn, connect with me on LinkedIn. Let's do some project together. Let's work. If you have questions related to Power BI Fabric, I'm happy to help. And if I don't know it, I'm happy to learn to it. And I will be honest with you right now. I have learned so much from just being able to stand up and share my knowledge, share the little things I know. If I could have kept that to myself, I wouldn't know much like this, but I have learned so much being able to share my knowledge. Yeah, so I'll be happy to connect with you all if you have anything you want to do or any question regarding Power BI and Fabric. Please, I'll be happy to do that. Count me. I won't be silent on that. I will stand up. It's my call. More question? Amos, keep going. Amos and Adebayo, Adewale, Babatunde Adewale, thank you both. You are my major guys today. Lucky winner. And I'm sorry, maybe in the next section, we will have something to share for the people who participate the most. We will make it more engaging. But today, big kudos to you guys. And for those who kept silence, big kudos to you too, at least for being able to participate and listen to us tonight. Thank you, Adewale. Now I'm giving the ball back to the AMRS president so that we can round up this call. And thank you all. Thank you. Malaka, thank you.
Thank you so much, Dallas. The meeting was really informative and it is really good. Thank you for your session.
My pleasure. My pleasure. All right, I'm giving you all back 3 minutes. Thank you. Appreciate. I'm dropping this corner and stopping my
Yeah, you
screen.
can go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you all.